Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to our dear packaging community around the globe. I am Luciana Pellegrino, WPO's Senior Vice President Marketing, and on behalf of WPO, I would like to give a warm welcome to each one of you. A special welcome to our board members that are today following our webinar. It's great to have you with us this morning. I would like to take this opportunity to encourage each one of you to introduce yourself via chat. This is the purpose of the WPO, to build a global packaging network. So take this opportunity to introduce yourself, your company, and the country you come from, and enlarge your network around the globe. Driving the global economy and the fast-moving consumer goods chain to circular is a common challenge most nations are facing nowadays. And that only will be achieved by collaboration, by engaging people, companies, organizations, and governments, and by joining efforts, learnings, and references. And that is our goal today, to share WPO's collaborative project in Indonesia. So, how is our agenda today? Today, we will start with the opening speech from Professor Pierre Bernard, the president of WPO, the World Packaging Organization. And we follow with Dr. Ernst Konzendorfer, Director of Circular Analytics of 8H Campus Vienna and CEO of Packforce. And Ernst will give us an introduction about the guideline. We follow with Mr. Henki Wibawa, that is also Vice President Education of WPO and Director of IPF, Indonesian Packaging Federation, that will give us an introduction about the Indonesian project. After that, we are going to have a quickly but very interesting testimony video from brand owners in Indonesia that have participated in this project. And we follow to a panel discussion with Mr. Kidianto Wibowo from Phrase, also Mrs. Martini Idawati from IPRO, and also Mrs. Christine Halim from Adupi. That means the chair people and leaders of key organizations in Indonesia. During this panel discussion, please feel free to send us questions via chat. We'll make sure we have time to answer them. And if we don't, I kindly ask all my colleagues at WPO and all the ones that are involved in this project to answer also the questions via chat. And before we end, we have a message from UNIDO, from Mr. Ali Bernadette, and we close with the remarks from our President, Pierre Bernard. So I wish you all a great webinar, and we'll be together for the next hour. And to start, I would like to welcome Professor Pierre Bernard, the President of WPO. Pierre, welcome.
Well, thank you, Luciana. What a privilege and a wonderful opportunity to be with all of you around the world. Thank you for being with us. A little bit of background. So in February last year, our WPO member in Austria, Packforce, approached the WPO encouraging us to do more on the ground. From Packforce, Dr. Ernest Krottendorfer said that a global organization like the WPO that is involved in packaging, and more particularly a spokesperson for recycling, we needed to show what is required at grassroots level. We left that meeting determined to make a difference in the world of packaging recycling. We looked at the globe to determine who needed our involvement. In November, the year before, in other words, in 2019, our global body in the WPO met in Bali for a week. So Indonesia was fresh in our minds. We had also seen firsthand the state of recycling in that region. So we initially contacted our representative in Indonesia, namely the Indonesian Packaging Federation, and had a couple of meetings with Mrs. Ariana Susanti, who advised us to involve their executive director, Mr. Henki Wabawa. And so we held our very first meeting on the 1st of April, 2020 with the Indonesian Packaging Federation, IPF, which was the beginning of a long and detailed relationship with a sincere commitment spanning the next 18 months. We met every Tuesday afternoon, involving various parties, organizations, groups, and companies. We met with packaging producers, with converters, with packaging collectors, recyclers, you name it, we met with them all. At all times being guided by the IPF. And ultimately the IPF involved PRAISE, Packaging and Recycling Alliance for Indonesia Sustainable Environment. And they are a consortium of brand leaders, for example, Coca-Cola, Danone, Indofood, Nestle, Tetra Pak, and Unilever. This was the turning point for us because PRAISE supported 100% the development of sustainable and integrated packaging waste management solutions in Indonesia. They too had the clout and the muscle to make things happen. We knew early in the piece that it had to be driven by Indonesians and also implemented by Indonesia. We now had PRAISE and WPO having a common goal. All positively minded people looking to ensure that ultimately a working recycling system would be put into action. Week followed week, as together we drove towards the goal of ensuring that all the I's were dotted and all the T's were crossed. We got Mr. Henki Wabawa to commence writing the Indonesian Packaging Design Guidelines to implement the system based on the guidelines that Circular Analytics wrote in conjunction with the University of Applied Sciences in Vienna. PRAISE then created a body to implement the system on the ground, namely the Indonesian Packaging Recycling Organization, or commonly known as IPRO. And the WPO could finally hand over in total to them. We are truly grateful in having the opportunity to be so involved for so long in Indonesia. And now we watch from a distance as it all comes together. We wish IPRO and PRAISE all the very best. And we all say a big thank you to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Pierre. And also a big thank you for putting everyone together, for leading this amazing project. So let's move on and get to know a little bit more about these guidelines. So at this moment, I would like to invite Dr. Ernst to tell us a little bit and give us the introduction about the guideline and what about its content and how it was implemented in Indonesia during this project. Dr. Ernst, welcome.
Luciana, thank you very much for the kind introduction. A warm welcome also from my side to every one of you, from everywhere you are watching us today. And I'm very happy to give you a short introduction into our global packaging design for recycling guidelines. I'm going to share some slides. And I hope everybody can see my slides. So the packaging design for recycling guidelines is a collaborative project between the World Packaging Association and the ECR community, and the University of Applied Sciences Campus Vienna was very happy to participate in this project and to support it. who are now the partners of this project. I don't need to extend on the World Packaging Organization. You all know it now. And the second partner, ECR Community, is a global association in the retail and consumer product sector. ECR is bringing together manufacturers, retailers, and service providers in this area, and they are sharing here best practice information on areas such as supply chain, category management, sustainability, and digital transformation. And so these two big, truly global organizations, I think, are best suited to come up and to recommend such a circular packaging design guideline. Why we are doing that, I think that's clear for everybody of you. Packaging fulfills essential tasks and makes really significant contributions to sustainability, as packaging enables the efficient distribution of goods and ensures the safety and integrity of products. Nevertheless, we all know that packaging has a disposal problem, and in the current political and social discourse is obviously viewed negatively, therefore. And so the circularity of packaging is an urgent imperative for all stakeholders in the packaging supply chain. And in this sense, we have developed this guideline to exactly address this circular economy challenge of packaging. And with this guideline, what we want to do is we want to promote knowledge development. Obviously, we want to increase recyclability and recycling of packaging. We want to create a common understanding of what is exactly circular packaging design. And we wanted to provide a practical design tool that is easy to use and easy to understand by packaging designers worldwide. And by making this packaging design for recycling guidelines, we also wanted to contribute to an international harmonization of design standards. And obviously, what's very important here is, in order to apply these principles of circular packaging design, it's very important to understand collection, sorting, and recycling processes, because this is necessary. This basic understanding is necessary to create circular packaging design. And with our design for recycling guidelines, we wanted to exactly provide this knowledge. So the guideline covers different materials and packaging types, and it has mainly 4 chapters. The first chapter is dealing with recyclable packaging design and material-specific recommendations. The second part of the guideline is dealing with design recommendations for specific packaging types. Then what we also have is an extensive glossary and notes on comments on technical terms. And the 4th chapter is dealing with sustainability and with circular economy as general information. The guideline covers food, near food, and non-food products, and it covers primary packaging, secondary packaging, and also tertiary packaging, and is valid for all these different packaging types. The guideline is easy to use and to understand, and it has some structural tools to support the user. First of all, there's a color coding for the different packaging types and materials. And then we have divided packaging into 3 main component criteria. There is the packaging material, there's decoration and other components, and there is the closure system. So we are dealing with these 3 different components of packaging, because the interplay of these different components very much defines the recyclability of the whole packaging system. And then we have a traffic light system, and the traffic light system explains what to do in the best case, what to do only if necessary, and what has to completely avoid it in order to assure the recyclability of packaging. So we have material-specific recommendations that are available for all relevant materials. Here is an example of material-specific recommendations for plastics. So it deals with the material itself, it deals with different material combinations, it deals with barrier layers, it deals with additives, it deals with colors, because all these elements are important for the recyclability. And then we have recommendations for packaging types, and these are discussed in detail. Here I have an example of a PET bottle. And here we distinguish, as I said before, between material, we distinguish between decoration and other components, and we deal with the closure system. And here you see also the color coding. Green is what has to be done, red is what has to be avoided, and yellow is what can be done only if necessary. And we go through all these different packaging components. And as I said before, the interplay of these packaging components is very important to ensure recyclability of the packaging. So this guideline is available on the web pages of WPO. It's available on the web page of ECR community. You can download it there, and you can use this guideline to develop new packaging design. You can also use this guideline to check the recyclability of your current packaging design. And the guideline can also be used to harmonize design rules across countries, industry sectors, or companies. But this guideline project does not end here. There is also a step 2. We have finalized the recommendations for mechanical recyclability packaging design. So this is done. And what we are doing now is we are creating an overview of country-specific collection, sorting, and recycling infrastructures of packaging waste. This is work that's in progress. That's a research that we have started. And we are now looking into the different countries, and we are investigating their collection, sorting, and recycling infrastructures. This is a picture, a comparison of Austria, Germany, and the Netherlands. It's an example of the country-specific collection, sorting, and recycling infrastructure. And we will be doing that for many countries. We will be probably finalize in the first quarter of 2022, probably completely, Europe completely. And then we are looking into other parts of the world, and we hope that until December 2022, we can cover this infrastructure research on a global basis. Here you see how you can download the guideline and from where you can download the guideline. So it's accessible through different channels. And this was my presentation. So thank you very much for your attention. And I hope if you have any questions, please direct your questions to us with regards to the guideline. Thank you very much, and back to you, Luciana.
Thank you, Ernst. What an amazing guideline. And yes, it's open for everyone that is interested. So please access WPO website and download it. Also, we are happy to announce that shortly we may have different country members of WPO translating this guideline to their national languages to make sure we can spread all this knowledge. So congratulations, Ernst, and all the ones involved in this project. It's an amazing tool for our packaging community. And then moving on, I would like to announce and welcome Mr. Henke Wibauer, that is also a WPO Vice President for Education, and also the Executive Director of IPF, the Indonesian Packaging Federation. While I welcome Henke, I would like to thank him so much for supporting us on organizing this webinar and making sure we had all the key participants today with us. So Henke, please welcome and share with us some information about this Indonesian project.
Thank you, Luciana. I think it's also thanks that we are able then to share regarding this big project that we are very proud, I would say, that we are very proud, successful, although as Pierre at the beginning was telling, that was a long, long way, but we're really happy that we are able then to finalize, come up with a document. And in this case, this project is collaborative efforts that we have made, WPO, IPF, and PRAISE, as Pierre also has mentioned. This is the whole brand owners, and of course, in the further action that will be implemented by IPRO is founded by PRAISE, and we're working also with the Indonesia Recycling Association. It's ADUPI. This project, of course, is a kind of a business model, I would say. This guideline that we started with the all the packaging product that the is based on the members of the PRAISE. So PET, for example, the most from Coca-Cola and Danone, and then the UBC, the used beverage carton, which is the member from Tetra Pak, and the flexibles mostly from Unilever and Nestle, and HDPE also from Unilever and Nestle as well. So this is the roadmap that I show here from PRAISE. And in last year, as I mentioned earlier, that PRAISE has established the IPRO, the Indonesia Packaging Recovery Organization, in order to bring up all the activities for the action plan. So this IPRO, that they have already a certain program that they will tell later on. This is also the representative from IPRO later on will be having a panel. And then I see that here the whole challenge that we have. If Anne's already giving all the picture about the condition, of course, this is a global guideline, but of course, mainly coming from Europe, which is a very much advanced already. But we have here a certain lot of challenging. For example, that at present, our post-consumer waste are going into the landfill. This is the most, and only a small portion are really going into the recycling. Whether it's downcycling or upcycling, that is still a question mark. And then some of the of this waste are going into the ocean, to the river, into the ocean. That is the whole challenge that we have to overcome, that we have to find a solution. And this is the guideline that we have to make in order that most of our packaging, especially, of course, with the all brand owners from PRAISE, that we have the possibility then to recycle it. The other challenge that Answer mentioned regarding the collection sorting, we don't have a very good infrastructure yet. That's why we're still depending on the unofficial, I would say, actors in order to do that kind of collection and sorting. This is we have a kind of a waste collectors. So initiative that people that collect from household for own income, and then that is also what we call it even more smaller, the recycling picker, and then the street scavengers. That's all the unofficial actors in this case of waste management. So then, of course, we also have a kind of a collectors in more bigger portion, like waste banks. We call it waste bank. And that is also some challenge, of course, how to work it together. The waste banks also, of course, doing it for business. This is the way that they do the collection and then to bring up to or to sell it to the recyclers. That is the way that the infrastructure that we have currently. So, and then where is the waste source actually? If you see this picture, that the organic waste is the most. If we're talking about plastic, there's not the majority actually, because this is again, if they going all the waste coming from the so-called municipal waste going into the landfill, that will be the very bad situation, the very worst situation that we have to see. That although there's also waste picker in that. So that is the whole challenge that we have to overcome. So we think that the recycling program in the future, there will be a kind of holistic approach that we have to have, so-called the education from the community, the habit of littering, and how to put the packaging waste in that case into the right waste stream. That the first, and then regarding the recycling industry, of course, at present with the technology that they have, still need to improve in the future for that kind of many kind of packaging. And then regarding the local government, because we are talking about the each of the collection center in local government, and we have 514 kind of local government at present, which is we don't have really a good kind of what we call it before waste bank. That is also the future. And then regarding, of course, in this case of waste management, we should have also kind of funding. So recycling fund, where is it coming from? We expect, of course, if we see from the Europe, that is not possible that we can do that here. At present, we don't have. So we have to do it from own initiative in this case. This is where the funding source is coming. So our strategy in the future is improving economics and quality of recycling. That means the design of recycling, as Ernst was very much telling that before, that we believe that with the brand owners, that later on we still can develop that kind of recyclable design of packaging. So boosting the demand of use back, so reuse the recyclates that we can reuse that into the plastic packaging. So, and then better in the infrastructure, better separate collection and sorting. So how we can really do as a extended producer responsibility scheme. That is the best. We hope that in the future that based on this kind of business model that we expect that to do, and based on that the government will see this is the system, the ecosystem that we want to have in Indonesia. So that is the idea in the future. So this is slightly regarding the ADUPI, the Indonesian Recyclers Association that I mentioned. They do a lot already, but they, as mentioned, they also trying among the members to really improve the recycling technology that in the future then able to work together, and in order to work to overcome the packaging waste. So this is again should be a partner. We have to work together. This is the key issue that we have to do. how we can really do it as a collaborative efforts, collaborative initiative. And I believe that I mentioned that before, that the local, the government will see that. So some coming from the stakeholders that I mentioned before, that we need, of course, a kind of fiscal incentive, at least, because you are working with the so non-official waste picker. How can they have to collect that kind of tax and so on? This is a kind of fiscal incentive that for the all stakeholders, that we can really get into the financial initiative. So and then you know in the developing country like Indonesia, a lot of scrap import, which is sometimes really scrap. We don't call it as a valuable waste. This is really scrap, and this is the best, the very bad challenge that we have to see also. Yeah. So that is really that we have to overcome about that. And then the EPR policy from the government, that we really think that in the future, based on the business model, which is a successful business model, that we can really do it as our APR policy. And then standardize all the recycling product. This is a part of the packaging in order to make it recyclable, and the whole roadmap that we have to do. I think a lot of homework that we have to do. Some of the critical points that I mentioned here, about 10, that we have to work further in that particular initiative. I think this is my last slide, and I thank you very much. That again, I'm very proud working together with all the stakeholders that I mentioned that before, and thank you very much. And giving back to Luciana. Thank you.
Thank you, Henki, so much. There are indeed many challenges to face, but there is a saying that says that to start a long journey, you have to take the first step.
Yeah.
And Indonesia definitely took it. What a bold move on taking the lead and gathering stakeholders to collaborate in these projects,
yeah,
including as well as brand owners, from whom we will watch now a short testimonial video sharing their perspective on building a circular consumption chain. Let's watch the video.
In Coca-Cola, we understand that the packaging waste problem is a big issue of our time. Together, we can contribute to make the world's packaging waste problem a thing of the past. To make our ambitions a reality, we support the creation of a circular economy ecosystem where packaging waste is seen as a resource as opposed to waste. And here is where we see that the creation of an industry-led PRO is critical for our future. Coca-Cola, together with our colleagues in PRAISE, is fully committed to the establishment of PRO Indonesia and to ensure its successful operation. PRO could become the future of Indonesia in circular economy and a shining example for other countries on how to make the packaging waste problem a thing of the past.
At Danone, with One Planet, One Health being our guiding star, our ambition is to offer high quality and healthy food and hydration in packaging that is 100% circular. This means ensuring the packaging we produce stays in the economy and never becomes waste or pollution, and therefore staying out of nature. The best innovation happens when we collaborate with others. Therefore, we believe our involvement in Packaging Recovery Organization, or PRO, will be a significant step for us in Danone to achieving our big ambition in making circular economy a reality in Indonesia. I hope and trust that PRO will be having the impact through collaboration with all stakeholders, because each and every one of us have a responsibility to create integrated and sustainable waste management in Indonesia for a better and cleaner Indonesia. Terima kasih.
Selama ini Indofood telah melakukan berbagai program terkait pengolahan sampah plastik. Namun kami percaya bahwa permasalahan sampah akan lebih mudah diatasi jika berbagai pihak, baik pemerintah, kalangan usaha, komunitas, hingga masyarakat bergotong royong menyelesaikan. Hadirnya Packaging Recovery Organization semakin menumbuhkan optimisme dan menjadi alternatif dalam upaya pengelolaan sampah plastik yang terintegrasi, serta mampu menciptakan sistem yang dapat mendorong pertumbuhan sirkular ekonomi, sehingga mampu mengubah sampah plastik menjadi barang yang memiliki nilai.
Di Nestle, kami berkomitmen untuk melakukan segala upaya yang dapat membantu menyelesaikan tantangan manajemen sampah kemasan yang kompleks. Keterlibatan Nestle dalam PRO adalah perwujudan komitmen kami dalam menciptakan masa depan bebas sampah. Kami berharap PRO dapat berhasil menerapkan sistem yang solid dalam pengumpulan dan daur ulang sampah kemasan. PRO harus dapat mendukung tujuan pemerintah Indonesia untuk mengurangi sampah plastik hingga 70% pada tahun 2025.
We believe that the economy of the future must be circular and must be low carbon, with minimum climate impact across the entire value chain. And to be successful, we depend on the power of collaboration. Touch Back Indonesia, we believe that this partnership will be an effective strategic platform to expand the types of packaging waste collected and help increase recycling for used beverage cartons. Through PRO, we hope to continue play an active role in shaping the sustainability ecosystems in accordance to the goals of 2030 Indonesia Bebas Sampah Plan.
Hi, my name is Nurjana Darus from Unilever, Indonesia. At Unilever, we believe that plastics must stay in the economy and not in the environment. This is what drives us to become a plastic responsible company. By 2025, we commit to having the use of our virgin plastic in our packaging, collect and process more plastic than we sell, and ensure all our packaging are reusable, recyclable, or compostable. But we cannot do this on our own, and we need the commitment and collaboration of everyone, including producers, retailers, consumers, and the government, to work together to solve Indonesia's plastic waste management problem. As part of IPRO, we will continue to bring a number of stakeholders to co-create solutions to drive and accelerate the enablement of the circular economy in Indonesia. Thank you.
This video gathers company members from EPRO and from Phrase. And I take this opportunity to thank Mrs. Anissa for putting it together for us. And now we follow our webinar and we go to our panel discussion. Please send your questions via chat. We'll try to answer them, but also we ask our members to support us and also try to answer them written by chat as well. And for this panel discussion, I would like to welcome the leaders of the key organizations in Indonesia that were highly involved in this project. So I would like to welcome Mr. Kadianto Wibowo, that is the chairman of PRAISE, the Consortium of the Packaging and Recycling Alliance for Indonesian Sustainable Environment. Also, I welcome for our panel, Mrs. Martini Idrawati, the chairperson of IPRO, Indonesia Packaging Recovery Organization. And also, Mrs. Christine Halim, chairwoman of ADUPI, Indonesian Plastics Recycling Association. Please be welcome. Hi, Christine. Hello, hello, Martini. Welcome.
Hello.
Nice to
Hello.
have you. Thank you for joining us. So I would like to start our talk today asking a question to Mr. Kidianto. Please introduce us about PRAISE and its role in fostering the circular project for the fast-moving consumer goods and its packaging.
Thank you, Luciana. So again, thank you for this great opportunity to share praise for this very exciting and important event. So quick one, basically praise is actually officially established in 2017, founded by 6 FMCG companies in Indonesia. They are Coke, Coca-Cola, Danone, Indofood, Nestle, Tetra Pak, and Unilever. But I think before I share about the praise activity in Indonesia, perhaps I just give you kind of a reason behind why praise was established. I think some of you are aware that basically, a couple of years ago, there were kind of a global commitment led by Ellen MacArthur in collaboration also with the UN Environment Program to really gather more than 400 companies to really pledge on the topic related to the packaging, especially on the plastic. And PRAISE members, actually most of them are actually a multinational company, and we are part of it. Therefore, we as a global part of the global company, we also commit this kind of visions, which is the first one is, of course, to eliminate the problematic or unnecessary plastic packaging through the redesign, innovation, and also the new delivery model. And then implement the reuse model where it is really relevant, and also reduce the need of the single-use packaging. And then also we commit to use all of our plastic packaging really 100% reusable, recyclable, and also composted or compostable. And then there was also the commitment to use plastic to decouple from the consumption of finite resources. And then, of course, as part of our global commitment, we as an individual company, we were trying hard to have kind of an individual initiative from the each member of the PRAISE before, which is like Coca-Cola through collections initiative, Danone on the redesigning the packaging and also establishing the collections, Indofood also on start introducing the waste collection through the waste bank, Nestle through municipality collection like the Project Stop, like Tetra Pak also trying to increase the collection of the UBC, as well as Unilever by innovating on doing chemical recycling for multi-layers and also the use of recycled materials. And then we think that those individual company, we think that it is always better to get together. So this is the reason why PRAISE was established. So to really collectively as doing the actions, working together with the government and also the relevant stakeholder to really implement integrated approach on packaging waste management in Indonesia to drive on the circular economy model. So, and then perhaps some of you, or maybe I will also share that from the government perspective, the regulatory Indonesia already established, the Solid Waste Management Act, which is already years ago, since 2008. But recently, government also established kind of EPR regulations through the ministry regulation established in 2019, where it is really required each company in Indonesia to start establishing the roadmap on reducing the waste by 30% at the end of 10 years period, which is by 2029. And then, of course, to respond this regulatory, we as the press, we need to prepare ourselves in order to work together with the government hand in hand in order for the regulatory implement effectively. So what does it mean? So it means that we need to start redesign our packaging to be fully recyclable, use more recycled content and also renewable content. And the second one is we need to start supporting the recycling system, and then also drive consumer participation on the circular economy. And then the last one is to working together with the government to initiate or having kind of a relevant policy to increase the collection and recycling rate, including establishing the prerequisite and condition for optimal EPR. And for those, we as press established the IPRO or PRO last year in 2020, which is a voluntary non-profit independent organizations to really support Indonesian government meeting their ambitions through increasing the collection and recycling of the post-consumer packaging in Indonesia. So this is more or less just to give you an idea of PRIS and where we are now, in the ecosystem of waste management in Indonesia and what we are trying to do to support the Indonesian government agenda.
Thank you. Yes, this is amazing. It's really a call for action, and it's really about taking ownership and bringing everyone together to make it happen. So thank you very much. Also, we would like to know more about EPRO as well. So I would like to ask Mrs. Martini to introduce us about EPRO and tell us briefly the background about the challenges to increase packaging recycling that you face in Indonesia.
Thank you, Ms. Luciana, for this opportunity. So actually, iPro has been established by PRAISE and launched in around August 2020. And iPro as an independent foundation with a voluntary-based approach, with focusing on improving collection and recycling rate of post-consumer waste packaging. So iPro in here is working together with the post-consumer waste supply chain or value chain and collection center through our partners, such as our partner, just like aggregator, recycling companies, as well as the material recovery facility. So if we talk about the challenges that we're facing in Indonesia, we can divide it into two sides. This is both a supply side and demand side. So as we know that the national collection rate around 30% only, and which is 60% is uncollected. So from 30% collection, most of it or around 69 or 70% of waste goes to landfill. This is already mentioned by Pak Hengki before. This is related to the supply chain and lack of knowledge, know-how, commitments within supply chain actors, caused by the lack of infrastructure and system on managing waste itself. If we see or we think about the on-demand side, the market volatility because high dependency on informal sector to collect all the material around 60%. This is make the condition of feedstock of the material is is very volatile. Also, the downstream market readiness to absorb and produce product towards circularity also is challenging. So these are the main challenges that we should ensure project within IPRO run smoothly by balancing between preventive action, just like improving advocacy, awareness, education, and collection and recycling at the same time. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Yes, it's amazing. I mean, how clear you could build this picture, and that helps a lot for sure to drive all the efforts and prioritize the activities to foster this recycling chain. Thank you for sharing with us. And also, we would like to know more about ADUPI. So I would like to invite Mrs. Christine to introduce us about ADUPI and tell us how is ADUPI fostering plastic packaging recycling in Indonesia.
Thank you, Luciana. Okay, I will explain to everybody about ADUPI. ADUPI is Indonesia Recycler Plastic Association, and we already established in 1983 from just 10 biggest recycling factory owner, the biggest in Indonesia and mostly in Java and Jakarta. And after that, they non-active and they gather again in Surabaya in 2015. And after that, they make it the new name to be ADUPI. First is just for the industry. And after that, they changed the name. So everybody who concerned about the recycling, the plastic recycling, can join as well in this association. And at that time, I also the founder of the ADUPI with the 20 recycling plastic company from Surabaya, and we make it. But now we already have like more than 500 members all around Indonesia, came from the plastic recycler industry, collector who have the collaboration with all the waste picker, all the junk shop from the grassroots, the informal sector, Bu Martini mentioned before, the waste bag, and the FMCG company. So we already have been recycle all the plastic material for decades in Indonesia because of the economic reason, just the economic reason. We don't think about the sustainability and anything. We just think how to make our product cheaper. So we recycle the material, the packaging, the waste plastic to be the new product, fiber, household, to the new non-food packaging. What we recycle, it's a high value plastic waste material, depend on the demand. But now we see that the opportunity in the food grade recycle material. So our few members already invest in the food grade quality as well now. So they make the recycle facility to fulfill the demand. And the challenge of the recycling in Indonesia now, it's still collection and segregation. As you know, our people doesn't segregate our household before we dispose it. That means there is a lot of effort to clean up and the lack of the good material. And now, as we see too much new facility, recycling facility, but we lack the recyclable material. And we still very struggling with the low value plastic waste, and we found the solution that we have to make it as the material for the new renewable energy. So our new tagline is circular economy and zero to landfill. And what is our strategy for now? We are working with the few brand owner. We try to increase recycling rate. So we educate the collector, especially the informal sector, on how to improve the quality of the recycled materials and the management with our circular economy program, make them to step up as the formal sector, because a lot of recycling facility will need to meet the formal sector to be their supplier. And now we are helping our government to improve our waste bank work as well. As you know, now in Indonesia, a lot of our waste bank doesn't work very well. And we also work with them. And yeah, that's what we do, Luciana. Thank you.
Thank you, Christine. Yes, this is very interesting. And exactly as you said, recycling is an industrial activity, and it's based on the economic value of materials. And we do need a scale on getting and sorting these materials. So with that, I would like to ask Mr. Kilianto another question. And based on that, and is there a collaboration between government and the private sector to support or even to finance the waste selective collection in place?
Yeah, okay. So I think it was mentioned before by Ibu Martini of PRO. Yeah, and then we all, I think most of us are really aware where this collection rate in Indonesia is still very low. Okay, so especially for packaging, more or less it is 31%. So means that more than 60% is not really being collected. And then also at the same time, the model established or currently being done by the government on the waste management is really take and then or collect and then transport and dispose. It's really a linear. So this is the reason why at the end most of the waste, even it is really being collected, but at the end it is end up in the dump site. So then of course there was some question, and I think it is also mentioned by Enggi before. Why it is happening? So I think there are several root causes, and then we can cluster root cause from many different angles. I think the first root cause, at least according to my observations and have some dialogue and also some research, I think we don't really have proper governance on the waste management. So we need to really have the stable governance. What does it mean by the governance? So means here is that we need to make sure that the leadership on this waste management is really there, and then the responsibility, the role and responsibility. The responsibility of the waste management falls under the local government. The question is that whether the leadership of the local government is there to make sure that the service of the waste management given to the population is there. And then also the law enforcement. We have several regulatory, but whether the law enforcement is really imposed, and also incentive and also the consequence if the local government, for example, they don't meet really the target really defined for the service for the service level to the community related to the waste management. So the first one is the governance. The second one is the financial. So this is key. We need to have the stable financial funding, I would say, because now we don't have really adequate waste system funding, and then the funding source is not really reliable, and then there are many potential funding, but we don't really able to access the funding. The third one is lack of the capacity to run the sustainable waste system. So we don't have really the right capacity to run. there are several or there are many infrastructure on waste management, but we are not really able to run properly. So in this case, of course, there is an opportunity for us, for the private sector, to work together with the government. But of course, we should really understand that, you know, managing the waste is really a government and also private sector like us, a private company, can play a role to support, you know, because of the lack of funding and also perhaps the capacity or capability. So nevertheless, we need to make sure that we have, in order to have sustainable waste management system, we need to make sure that, you know, government really impose the right retribution fee to the community, and then government need to definitely provide the funding, and then private sector can support on co-funding through the different scheme or the different mechanism, which is there are several mechanisms already, which is we can also refer to what is happening in other country like the EPR kind of model through the PRO. So in this case, a PRO can work with the government or support the government on the waste management system in order to reach the target to increase the collection and also the recycling rate. However, the challenge is that we don't really see, and at the moment, PRO can really establish the partnership with the local municipality or local government. We don't think, you know, referring to what I mentioned before, like the service level or the system which is only collect, transport, and dispose. We at the moment we don't really see this opportunity, but of course we can further you know, explore the potential partnership, establishing the pilot, or maybe for the time being in Indonesia, PRO work together with the local community to increase the collections or to establishing the pilot on waste management system at the community level. And then in the future, we use this kind of pilot to further scaling up and also support by the local government. So this is more or less, you know, what we think on what will be you know, the potential where the private sector work with the government for this particular topic.
Yes, thank you very much for sharing with us. And this systemic approach on recycling definitely includes consumer responsibility. So I would like to ask Mrs. Martini if there is a program in place to engage and educate consumers.
Yes, absolutely. Within our program, education and building up awareness as well as behavior change as a embedded program during our implementation of in our project. For instance, we are supporting our partners that they will conduct the several trainings for their supplier. Could be related to the technical aspect, managerial aspect, as well as improving the awareness and education within or among their communities. So this kind of activity on engaging consumer as well as you know, taking a place on education program that combining in our project. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing with us as well. And then one question also to Mrs. Christine, coming back to our guideline. So it was great to have your involvement in this collaborative project. And how do you think the WPO's recycling guidelines will impact the design of plastic packaging?
Yeah, I think the guideline is very good. So it will increase the recyclability of the material, the plastic waste material. And And I think it can be a basic before an industry want to make a design about their packaging. And yeah, because now the packaging is already there and they still can see the guideline. Is their packaging already already have the good standard with the guideline or no? And it should be, if not, they can come back to us and to discuss with us about how, because we are the off-taker of the material, and if you make the awful design, it will be it's very challenge for us to recycle it. And because we have such a lot of variety of the quality of the recyclable material here in Indonesia. Example, for the mineral bottled water, we have a lot of quality with the different applications. So yeah, it still have to be back that before you throw to the dustbin, you have to make the segregation from the household, from the source. That will be very nice if the people, like Bu Martini mentioned, that you have to change the behavior from, yeah, it's really important for us, because if you already segregate from the source, so yeah, it will increase the quality of the material and also the economic value for the material. Thank you, Luciana.
Thank you. Well, time is flying. I mean, there is so much we would like to discuss and talk about, but time is flying. So I would like to ask for a 30 seconds final message. And then for sure, we would like to keep in contact and explore more about this experience. So please, Mr. Kianto, your final message.
Yeah, so I think as a press, we really appreciate the partnership we have together with the WPO. Is the collection at the same time also to increase the recycling rate of packaging in Indonesia, which is currently still at the 10%. Government put the ambition to 50% by 2029. So which is there is quite a big gap, and also the opportunity to really increase the use of recycled material, in which require the guideline to be applied to the industry across Indonesia, and then we will work together with the government to to start defining the standard for the industry across Indonesia, so that the ambition to increase the collection and also recycling rate will be achieved.
Thank you, and thank you for joining us today. Also, Mrs. Martini, please, your final message to us.
Yeah, thank you. I think just following up the Pak Karyanto statement, that solving our waste problem need collaboration. This is a very important thing to do. And we need also a lot of commitments and a lot of action. So I think by doing all these things together, we can, tackle all our waste problem in Indonesia. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for joining us for this webinar. And also, I would like to invite Mrs. Christine for her final message as well.
Okay, first of all, I would like to thank WPO for the effort to make such nice guideline, and Pak Hengki and Pak Karyanto and everybody here, because the guideline will be very good for increasing the quality of the material. That will be, it will increase our value of the recycler. And please, in this forum, I would like to still share that we still face a challenge here for our recycling sector here in Indonesia. And from ADUPI, we are struggling with the government, and yeah, that will be a very big issue, that we still have a lot of informal sector who really do the collection here in Indonesia. It's not like in other country. So we need to release the VAT, because the VAT it's really burden us, and it's still a big issue, and still we don't get any incentive from the collection. And the collaboration, like Bu Martini and Pak Karyanto said, yeah, we need the collaboration and the commitment from all stakeholders here. And hopefully this will be a very good beginning for Indonesian waste management. Thank you.
Thank you, Christine. And it was very nice to meet your buddy as well. Say hello to him. So, thank you for joining us and thank you for this rich panel discussion. And moving forward, what is the impact of such initiative worldwide? How is it connected to the global sustainable goals? So I invite you to watch a brief message from Mr. Ali Barnadette from UNIDO.
Okay. Thank you for giving me the chance to address your event. Congratulations to WPO and its partners, specifically in Indonesia, for launching this very important guidelines. It is definitely a major step for advancing the work on circular economy, a topic that UNIDO has been advancing for globally. We believe this is a concrete action that you took in responding to the recommendations came out recently from the UN Food System Summit, as well as the COP26. And we look forward to work closely with WPO and its members to disseminate and deploy the guidelines across our portfolio in support of our member states and their journey towards circular economy. Thank you.
Thank you, Ali. So what a rich webinar. There is a lot to be done. And for that, we have to take ownership. We have to exchange information and experiences and benchmark. And of course, we would like to support you as WPO on this challenge. And then to deliver the final words and close remarks, I would like to invite once again, Professor Pierre Pianat, President of WPO. Pierre.
Thank you, Luciana. And what a good hour that was spent learning and seeing this whole thing come together. And it's certainly my privilege and honor to thank all those that were involved in the successful recycling program and of course the implementation. You know, in particular, thank you, Ernest and Henke for your groundwork, as well as Johannes Bergmeier from those very early days and commitment every Tuesday. And then also to Karyanto, Martini, and Christine, thank you for what you did this evening, but more so what you're doing in Indonesia. That is what is so important. So thank you. To our moderator, Luciana Pellegrino, your calm and with such elegant poise that you did what you did this evening. Thank you so much. To all the viewers around the world, and we're talking over 60 countries, thank you for joining in. And you know, this is the start. We firmly believe that Indonesia is the first of many countries where the WPO can and will help. Thank you to all those in Indonesia who ensured that it has been successful and will continue to be successful. Thank you, Praise. Thank you, IPRO. Thank you, Adupi. We wish you well.
Thank you, Pierre, and thank you for everyone. Please remember to follow WPO in social medias and also in our website. Please subscribe under news to receive our newsletter and latest information. And hope to see you soon in our next webinar. Thank you very much.